Hi, good evening. Taskmaster and I are here for our weekly Monday LEOGlossary update. I'm going to give it a few minutes to see if anyone shows up. Got the YouTube. Well, I was able to upload the video for YouTube, that embed code, but wasn't able to get. I put some other ones up there and then they disappeared.
And where?
In my, I did a container for I started the knitting containers that I wanted to do. So I put some tutorials in there, embedded some tutorials in the casting on container, and they went in there and then they weren't there anymore.
Did you check in labs?
Oh, I keep forgetting about labs.
Yeah, just change the URL to labs.leofinance.io and, with the rest of it and see if it's there. And if it is, then, it's just a glitch with the production site.
So how's everything else going? How was the AMA today?
Uh, you mean the town hall?
The town hall, that's what it was. Okay.
It was okay. I mean, it was about an hour, a little over an hour, and had a couple people on it. It was uneventful.
Okay. Yeah, I was excited when I saw you uploaded that Pink Floyd song. I'm like, oh, I can go upload videos.
Yeah, I mean, I was not having a problem for the last 2 days with it, and I set up polls and everything. And then, some point today, the polls started to be an issue. So I don't know if polls are working again.
Yeah, it's not on Labs either. The videos aren't on
That
Labs.
Yeah, polls still are screwed. So
So what else is going on?
just waiting, just waiting for things to be fixed. So we
So,
ready to go, or
pardon me?
are we ready to go?
Oh, ready to go. Yeah. Yeah, we are here. Vim's not letting me post a hive, so whatever. We'll just keep going. Yeah, we're live. So there we go. So I know you're working on other stuff.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, this week it seems that the major focus for the team is on the Maya protocol, getting that bridge set up and the deck set up, and so that's where the team focus is. And unfortunately, it puts a lot of other things on the back burner,
Right.
and the UI is kind of a mess. Um, the fact that we haven't had embedded videos for a week and a half, actually, it's been longer than that. It's probably been closer to 2 or 3 weeks, is a problem. And now the polls disappear, which is a problem. Um, and the other problem was on long form, the markdown wasn't working. which then that screwed up everything for movies, for the movie glossary. And you'd have an actor filmography that you have the actor or actress page, but because the table of their films and their characters is marked down, the tables were gone.
Oh.
So that was another thing. And then the pictures weren't coming through. So that's where I just started to focus upon um, just building out some more generic pages of terms for LEOGlossary, uh, because that's all I basically could do. And which is fine because that just adds more terms to Leo Linker, and it just more terms in Leo Linker, then the more terms that get linked, that type of thing. So um, now that the markdown appears to be back, we'll see how long it stays. I was able to start going back and doing some actor and actress pages and add to them, which now it's getting to the point where there's enough movies in there that I do an actor page, and it's like a 20-minute proposition because I do the page, which that's already done. That's a copy and paste.
Mm-hmm.
But there'll be 4 or 5 films that are already in the database that I got to go into those films and link the actor to or actress to. And so I got to go in the cast of the film page, edit that, and add it to it, which isn't that big a deal, except the fact that I usually have to go through and then run the summary for the film through Leo Linker and clean that up because a lot of these films were done 6 months ago, so a lot of the terms weren't in there, and
Oh, okay.
it's just a continual process. And as I said in the past, ultimately the goal is to get long polls on long form so I can put polls on there and people can vote on the movie pages. Just like they can do on IMDb and all the rest. So
Uh-huh.
um, that's something that I'm waiting on. And that's okay. I mean, it's not like there isn't enough to do.
And you're creating more work for yourself all the time anyway.
Well, it's what it is my view is very simple. If we're dealing with digital real estate, if you buy into the concept of digital real estate, if you buy into the concept that Web3 is about ownership
Mm-hmm.
and a different ownership structure, and I don't give a shit what you create on your Facebook page. I don't care how many pages, i.e., tweets or blog posts or whatever you call them, you put on X. At the end of the day, ultimately, you don't own shit.
Right.
You
Right.
can put 100,000 pages, whether they're blog posts, whether they're tweets, whatever, on X. You own zero. Elon owns it all. You do the same thing on Facebook, you don't own crap. You write 1,000 blog posts on Medium, you don't own crap. And so on Web3, the question is, who owns it? And that gets to be a very quirky question because whenever you create a blog post on Hive, you're on a minimum of 7 front ends. You're on eCincy. You're probably, if you do it through Leo, you're on INLEO. You're on Blog. You're on Peak D. You may be on Neo XEN. You might be on Proof of Brain if you use that tag. You're going to be on Hot Blocks. You're going to be on these different Wavio. So you're on all these different front ends. Who owns the data? Well, nobody does. But who owns the page? Well,
We do.
that's not really because the page right now is under your account, but what can you do with the page? You can edit the page, you can delete the page. I understand that, but you can't monetize the page. I can't go in and monetize a, a blog page in the sense of putting ads on it or anything like that. Now, with Leo, they have the ad revenue situation. But this is where Web3 differs, because what happens when there's NFT capability where we can take each page, and if you do a page, let's say you do a LEOGlossary page, which you've done. We've used your singles pages, and I put your name on it. Well, that's a basically just a placeholder.
Mm-hmm.
Because what happens in the future if all of a sudden NFTs are for every page, and I go to that page and I create the NFT for that page and I send it to your account? And the revenue is based upon whoever owns that account. So my first thought is, if this is digital real estate, don't you want as much as you can get? Because if you think about regular real estate, are you better off with one rental property or 1,000 rental properties? Now, leaving the work aside of 1,000 rental properties, if
Right.
if it's the same work, because once you create a page, you create a page. So do you
Mm-hmm.
rather have 1,000 properties if it was the same amount of work as one property? Well, once you create the page, it's there. And so my point is if we're truly in digital real estate, don't I want as many freaking pages as I can get? And what is a page? Well, everything has a URL, whether it's a blog post, whether it's a comment, whether it's a thread. You can click on it and it's its own URL. That's a page. So the idea to me is to build out as much as I freaking can and to get as much content created as I freaking can, because all of this stuff, if we're looking at the internet in its most basic form, which the internet is really just web pages. That's all the internet really is a bunch of web pages tied together. That's what hyperlink means. So obviously they've built things like search engines and other things that can shorten the path, but technically, if they didn't have that technology, to get to a page, you'd have to go through all those other pages that are linked together to eventually find that one page. Now we know search engines obviously came about to index that stuff, and so you could search by data. But that's basically the foundation of the internet, and it hasn't really changed. Now you could say, okay, maybe uh, AI is going to change things, which okay, it will, and we can talk about that in a bit. But the point still is, the more digital real estate I have, I think the better. So if you give me the choice of having 1,000 pages or 10,000 pages, I'm going to vote for 10,000 pages. The difference between 10,000 pages and 100,000 pages, I'm going to vote for 100,000 pages, because that's my ability to monetize. And this is something that I don't think people quite understand. And when I say a page, I'm not necessarily talking a typical high post, although that counts. But my Leo glossary pages, I create all this stuff and I don't even monetize it by traditional means. I decline the rewards, but I still have thousands and thousands and thousands of pages that can be monetized. And now there's other people working on this stuff, and they're getting 5, 6, 7 pages a day because their name's going on stuff. And over the course of a year or 2 years, we'll see how many pages they can get.
So the more I listen to you talk about it, the more I can, you know, like visualize all this Web3 real estate, all these pages. That's pretty amazing, actually. Because, like you said, I mean, on Web 2, you don't. They can take that down anytime they want.
They don't even have to take it down. They just
Don't
zap your
show up.
account. It's gone. You can't access your data. You can't access the data. They control your account. And if we haven't learned anything in the last 4 years, or we haven't learned anything if we didn't learn this one thing, social media companies will zap your ass for all kinds of reasons, justified or not. And just having your real estate stolen from you. And again, for most people, it doesn't fucking matter because, I mean, I'm not a tweetster, but, for most people, who gives a crap about their Twitter account? Okay, they like it, they have a lot of followers, but they're not monetized, they're not doing anything with it. The stuff they put up over the years is just okay. Maybe it was important in the moment, but who cares? It's like I guarantee if you look at Django's Twitter account, it means nothing. It has nothing in it that's worthwhile. I mean, okay, so he tweeted out the Bills won, back in December. Well, it's
Mhm.
March. Who cares? He doesn't even care. It's a new season. It's moving towards a new season. So, if I sent out a tweet 6 years ago or 8 years ago or something about, oh, the latest episode of Sons of Anarchy was great, who cares? It's been off the air for 8 years or whatever. So, this is the stuff where, and it's the same thing on threads. Good morning. Who cares? A day later. Who cares an hour later? It's no longer moving. You've been here. You've sent out 20 threads. So when we create stuff that has stickiness and it has monetization or the potential for monetization, maybe I'll
Uh-huh.
put it that way, then you're looking at something different. And maybe 98% of all the pages I create never monetize. Maybe they never qualify. And when I say monetize outside the proof of brain concept, but in evergreen or anything like that, maybe 98, 99% of what I create never makes a dime. But what about that 1%? And if I have 100,000 pages, which I have over 100,000 URLs, I mean, I have 70,000 threads. Now, will threads ever get monetized past what they've done? We'll have to see because we know a lot of those threads are songs. So we'll see.
Mhm.
But I guarantee you, most everybody else, unless they've been doing some of this stuff, they're not going to monetize any of their threads because what good is it? How many of those threads are going to get a couple hundred hits? Nobody can find them. And even if they can find them, who's looking? Who cares? But when you have stuff that has this built in, and again, as I said, if I have 100,000 pages and 99% of them don't get me anything, but 1% do, or half a percent. If half a percent, that's 500 pages. So now let's take the same scenario and get 200,000 pages. Well, now we see how the numbers start to work in our advantage. And this is the idea. And that's why I believe in linking. That's why I believe in connecting them. Because then your chance of some of those other pages being monetized increases. And once the building's built, it's built. It's no more additional work. So the difference between one rental property and 1,000 rental properties, just building the property. Once it's built, it's there. Once the page is there, it's there. Once the thread goes out, it goes out. So, once a poll is made, the poll is made. And this is where I'm a firm believer in starting to think about how things are going to evolve as opposed to what people see now.
Yeah, I mean, looking at it now, it doesn't seem like a big deal, but there's that potential for a lot. I mean, potential for hundreds of thousands of pages all linked together.
Yeah, I mean, it's you just keep building stuff, and the tools are starting to show up to do this. I mean, Leo Linker, I probably I probably do when I'm really working at it. I probably do 500 links a day at least.
Wow.
I just run a page through Leo Linker, and it's clean it up, and depending on what the topic is, I mean, some of these pages will have 50, 60 links in them alone. Or I create like a singles of an artist singles page. I mean, I did what did I do yesterday?
We did Boston.
Boston. There's like 45 songs on there. Well, that's 45 links to the threads. So that plus what's on the page itself, which is probably another 3 or 4 links. Um, so that page alone has about 50 links, all to my stuff, or most. Well, Boston was all my stuff, but some of them aren't all mine. But that's the point. So what happens if I do a Boston page every day for a year, 365 times 50 links? That's what, 15,000 links. I mean
You're
that
talking about like a page for the songs individually?
well, you go to a song page, and what happens when you click on a song? That's a link to
Mm-hmm.
another page, which happens to be a thread with a song embedded in it and a poll on it. But see, this is where all this activity, and granted, it's not as evident with these interruptions and these hiccups with the UI, but it's like building a library, and the more stuff you get in the library, in the database, the more the more that can be accessed. So this is why a few weeks back I was setting up polls like a madman, and they weren't who's going to win the game tonight, or what's the weather like, or what, any of that bullshit. It was stuff. Do you prefer dogs or cats? Are you a cat person or a dog person? Because that's something you can answer 5 years from now. So
Right.
there's a poll that has applicability no matter what. Who's your favorite Beatle? I mean, shit, that's been argued for 50 years. So that's something you could see being voted on 5 years from now if people come across that poll. So these are all things that my idea is to get it in there. Now, once I create that Beatle poll, I don't have to create it again. It's there. The page is done. Now, of course, when polls work, it takes 15 seconds maybe to set up a poll, if that, and it's done. Well, there's another piece of real estate. Will I ever make any money off the Beatles page? Presuming ad revenue goes on threads, which we suppose it will I ever make any money off it? I don't know, but it's out there. There's one page. And what happens if we get a recommend engine, which supposedly we're going to have at some point? So if you are on the Beatles page with the poll and it recommends maybe another poll, well, I did the other poll. Or maybe it recommends somebody else's poll. Who knows? But
Mm-hmm.
the point being is this is how you get traffic. This is how you get traffic built bouncing around. And I don't think people see this. See, I don't think anybody on Hive really understands this idea of network science or what network theory. They're kind of interchangeable terms. It's not really a science, but the idea is there's a branch of study, a branch of research on networks. And it's really accelerated because we've been able to create digital or artificial networks that really allow researchers to map out what happens. And then they've gone back and they've taken this and overlaid it into nature and different types of biological networks and networks within the body and those type of things. And so they operate according to similar characteristics, and they develop according to similar characteristics. And this is where you get kind of these long tail theories and things of that nature, because or in social media or digital networking terminology, you get hubs. You know, not every website on the internet is even. There's bigger websites, there's hubs, and there's stuff that's all on the fringe that very few people ever even see.
Mm-hmm.
So this is all network theory. And since I started diving into this, probably, I don't know, maybe a little over a year ago, that I really started to dig deeper into it's very predictable. And I've known about Metcalfe's law and Reed's law, which most people don't know about. It's basically the same thing. Metcalfe's law and Reed's law are the same thing, just their math is different. And the problem is with Reed's law, or Metcalfe's law, excuse me. Metcalfe was the one who, Robert Metcalfe, who got the uh, attention. He developed um, Ethernet, and basically he was in the communications industry, telecommunications, and he looked at fax machines, and that's where he developed the network effect, saying if you only have one fax machine, pretty worthless. You add a second fax machine, that has a greater than one impact, because now you added one fax machine, so it has the value of one fax machine, but it also increases the value of the first fax machine. And in this instance, it doubles the value. But then you add a third fax machine, and that third fax machine, because of the connections, now you have two possible connections from that third fax machine, or the third fax machine gives the other fax machines the ability for two distinct connections. That adds value to the other two, and so on and so on and so on. And then they applied this to Facebook. They did the research and see if the network effects would apply
Mm-hmm.
to social media and digital networks, and it did. The problem that Metcalfe had is he considered every node to be the same. Each fax machine is the same. Each fax machine has the same potential. And the reality is you have hubs. And so we see this with users. We see this with, I'll give you an example. If Joe Schmo leaves Leo Finance in Leo,
Mm-hmm.
or I leave in Leo, is that the same impact if either of us leave?
No.
Exactly, because on Leo, I'm a hub. I'm considered a hub. I have a bigger following. I have a bigger stake. I have more contribution. I have more pages. I have more followers. Every metric you use, I am more than just somebody who's puts up
One.
a thread or two here or there.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the difference. And this is where, like, when you look at Hive and you have all these Hive influencers who are over on Twitter and they're wondering why Hive's not growing, it's because you assholes aren't here. You guys are hubs, and all the hubs left. And what's left? Just fringe nodes, essentially. You know, Facebook and Amazon and Google have left the building, and sallysknitting.com is what we're left with.
Uh-huh.
And that's essentially what's happening. So this is where I've started to write about this stuff in not this direct language, but I've been taking these characteristics, these principles that researchers have come up with, and I said, this is what needs to be done, in addition to doing it myself. And now we're getting into the AI realm. And that brings on a whole nother level of architecture and structure, which people don't know about.
Yeah, what I know about IA, you can put like AI, you can put on the my pinky finger and have plenty of space.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's if people understood the very essence of how AI is structured, I mean, what the hell are they not putting stuff on Leo? Why? How are they not putting stuff on Ive all day long? Because what you have is you have a very simple premise. All you have is AI is data, large language models. Really, they're data, and they're wrapped in algorithms, and basically you have compute. So the data is your infrastructure,
Mm-hmm.
and you take this data, and I've been saying we need to have our own data, and people say stupid shit to me like, "Oh well, we just need better quality content." People aren't incentivized to put stuff on chain. Oh, the whales are assholes. The system isn't the voting system. So just all this stupid bullshit. It's like, what level are you people operating on? No, and I don't profess to be an AI expert. I'm far from an AI expert, but I do understand the basic premise of this stuff, and I understand the technological innovation enough to realize this is where things are going. And this is why I wrote the other night after what they're doing with Maya. And yeah, they got to work on the UI and get the bugs. But the next major innovation has to be Leo AI. They need to get that out in the wild. And I don't care how shitty it is. Get it out there. Then improve it. And start pushing people to fill it. But then again, I mean, this is where people are going to be late to the game, and they'll complain when they don't get stuff because they didn't basically they didn't listen. I can't say they didn't see it coming because I've been writing about it, talking about it.
Yeah, for a long time now.
I mean, why the fuck am I the only one building LEOGlossary? I mean, I have the name, but A, people could help out. But even still, B, people can build their own databases. I mean, they don't need my permission. It's permissionless. Build the database. Who's built? I can't think of any single person who's built a database. Now, there's some people who've taken different initiatives and building tags on Leo and that type of stuff, which is cool. And embedding videos. You're creating a library of stuff there. That's also helpful and important. I think music on Leo is important. I think what's that, Adam Barrett, travel on Leo. I think
And
that's,
books on Leo.
yeah, books on Leo. I think those are wonderful initiatives. And I don't know enough. Maybe Adam Barrett is built in databases. I just haven't looked at enough to see what is being uh, what's involved in what he's building. Um, he's obviously not uploading full books, so these are just reviews. But then again, I mean that's also something else that you could have a book review. I mean, I personally would not use threads for that. I would build out individual pages, blog pages, decline rewards, write up a summary of the book, have an image of the book, list the pertinent information for the book, the author, and that type of thing. Maybe
Mm-hmm.
create a page for each of the authors. So you have Robert Louis Stevenson and, Mark Twain. And, on the Mark Twain page, you have a list of all Mark Twain's books.
Mm-hmm.
And they link to Mark Twain. Then there's a link, again, basic menu mapping. And then, once we get long form content, rate this book. You know, I mean, uh, I mean that could be built on their Leo glossary. It could be built under books on Leo. Uh, I mean, there's just so much that could be done, and you know, people just don't get it. They just don't, and so this is where I start to take a look at people want equality, but there is no equality. It's unnatural. It's really that simple. And this is why all these philosophies that promote it end up dying. Hive is equal opportunity. Anybody can come and utilize Hive.
Mm-hmm.
The only requirement is you have to have some RCs. That's it. Anybody can build a database, but nobody has, or very few people have. Why? Not like it hasn't been mentioned. Not like there's not a million ideas. Not like I haven't thrown out a million ideas. Why? Why don't people do it? You have people from third world nations or developing nations who could put forth effort. They don't. You have people from Brazil. Are they doing it? No. People from developed countries. Are they doing it? No. Yet there's people who go and pay for servers. They pay for web hosting. They pay for API nodes. They pay for all this stuff that we don't have to pay for. It's handed to us, and they pay for all that to build a business in hopes of generating revenue. And here on Hive, we're like, it's free. Just have some resource credits. Post whatever you want. Build whatever library you want. Build whatever database. Build whatever business. And if you have somebody who's a developer, you can create your own URL, your own front end. But in the meantime, till you get things going, you can use Leo. Because don't think that I could take LEOGlossary and get a web page built and pull all the data. It's on the blockchain. I could do that if I wanted. I mean, actually, anybody could go do that. Don't need my permission. Why? Because the data's on the blockchain. It's just mind boggling. But we see how this works. And that's why I always go back to, did you ever see the film Margin Call?
I've heard of it. I haven't seen it.
Oh, it was a great film with Kevin Spacey, and Jeremy Irons was masterful in that. But anyway, there's a scene towards the end of the film. And the whole premise is they're at an investment bank.
Right.
And this came out like over a decade ago. So it
Mhm.
was kind of based upon loosely on the great financial crisis and the mortgage-backed securities, and this fictional firm had overextended and that type of thing. So anyway, they at the end of the film, Kevin Spacey is meeting with Jeremy Irons, is the CEO of the big wig, and Jeremy Irons just goes on this he gives kind of this speech to Kevin Spacey. He goes through all um, the recessions and the crashes. He starts like at 1850, and all the different ones. He's
Uh-huh.
off, and he says, "Listen, all we do is if we get it right, we make a lot of money. If we get it wrong, they take us and put us out by the side of the road." And he says, "The haves and the haves not. The numbers change, but the percentages they're always the same." And he's right, and that was a very accurate assessment, in my opinion, because people are not going to put in the same effort. In fact, we know most people aren't going to put in any effort at all. They're going to get caught up by excuses. They're going to complain. They're going to say this is a problem, that's a problem. I mean, why? I mean, I find some of the UI issues to be a pain in the ass too. But why does it not stop me? Because as long as something's working, I got something to do. Okay, I can't do polls. All right, well, there goes my music on Leo for a while. Well, there's other things I can do. And I lose polls, but I get filmographies back. So I can go back and do these now. So now I can switch back to actor and actress pages. I mean, there's just a ton of stuff you can always do. But you go through the latest feed, and it's just this doesn't work, that doesn't work. How come this isn't showing up? It's like, and I'm not saying that it's right. It's justified. I'm not saying that that's acceptable. It needs to be fixed.
Right, but there's other. I mean,
Yeah, it gets fixed when it gets fixed. I can't tell you. I mean, I've been saying I want polls for 6 months, a year. I don't have polls on long form. All right, well, whatever. So I wait.
and in the meantime, you're building other stuff.
Yeah, I mean, it's hopefully I can add polls to a page after the fact. Um, I don't know. I got I don't know, probably 1,500 actor pages and probably
Wow.
close to 1,000 movie pages. Um, I mean that there's enough stuff there. And again, you give me polls back on threads. Well, I'm still in the race to 100,000 songs. So
Whoa.
there's still a long way to go there. And I don't know. I need to get 10,000 polls up myself. We need to have hundreds of thousands of polls on Leo. So I mean, there's just always plenty of stuff to do if you're looking at using the tools.
Who's your favorite baseball announcer? Harry Carey or Bob Uecker?
Uh, I wasn't a big Harry Carey fan.
Neither was I.
I mean, I've honestly never heard Euchre. I mean, I heard him in Major League the film, but I've never heard Euchre announce a game that I can remember. But I like Bob Euchre better than Harry Carey. So if I had that poll, I would click on. I mean, it's just amazing. I don't know if I can. I don't know if I still have it open. I don't think I. Was that it? Yeah, here it is. I put up a poll. Which would you rather have? A time machine or a magic wand? Very simple poll. It got about two, I can't really see it, 2 or 3 page views. Got 8 votes, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 comments. So 7 comments on a simple which do you prefer poll. Nothing complex. Time machine or magic wand. Doesn't require deep thought.
No.
8 people voted. So there's 8 transactions on page, and we got 7 comments. I mean, what if we had that 1,000 times a day? And oh, by the way, this poll still is there, so it could be showing up on people's feed again. I mean, it's just this is the simple stuff that if you want to create more activity, create more activity. I mean, I'll give you another example. Melbourne West. He came across a quote that I had. I don't even remember what the quote was. But I put up a meme of a quote and had a poll with it. And he voted on it and he created he created a comment. He said, "This gave me an idea." And so what he did is it was like on motivation or something. And so
Oh.
what he did is he had a short, like 10 seconds, of him doing pull-ups. He's a big bodybuilder, so he had him doing pull-ups from the back. The camera was at his back, so him doing pull-ups. He did this short, and he overlaid the quote. It was only like 10 seconds. He overlaid the quote, and had, I guess he said the quote, but he fed his voice through some AI. So, it kind of sounded, it was an AI voice.
Uh-huh.
He overlaid that on this short, and it took him a very short period of time. And he posted it, or he posted the link in the comment. And so what I did was I said, this is what I'm going to do. So I went, and it was YouTube. He had a, no, it was a Three Speak. He uploaded it to Three Speak. So I went to the Three Speak page, and I grabbed the embed code, and I
Mm-hmm.
I put the quote, and then I embedded his video, and then I took that and I threaded it. Then I took that thread and I put it underneath his as the answer, saying, "This is what I mean." And we that back and forth took like a couple minutes. And look at all the content we created off of it in a couple minutes. I mean, that's that's just it. And again, that video with that quote on it, it'll be applicable in 5 years from now. Don't
Yeah,
know if it
that's the kind of stuff that's evergreen. Motivation isn't gonna like go anywhere.
exactly. Exactly. It doesn't go anywhere. It's always there. It's like the music. You know, you go to YouTube, you see a Bruce Springsteen song, it'll have 10 million views. Why? Because it's been up there 14 years. It's Bruce Springsteen. And anytime anybody, is in any types of 70 rock, Born to Run is going to be on the recommend feed. So sooner or later, you're going to click on Born to Run and watch it. So, you know, this is the thing. And this is why, again, if you're looking at where things are going with all of this, the recommend feed engine is very important because that's how you keep people. This is what this is what social media companies, Facebook is the master at this. In fact, they're so good at it, it's considered psychological warfare and manipulative, but whatever. They keep you there. And they hit the trigger points and they put the stuff in front of you that is going to emotionally say, I'm staying here. Most of it's like pissing you off and shit like that. And it's the same thing on YouTube. You could sit there on YouTube for hours just watching cat videos. Why? Because you watch 3 cat videos, you get 6 more. And, or listening to music or watching whatever. It's always the same thing.
There was on Facebook, it was Roy was talking about something that we wanted to buy or something, and it showed up in my feed. I'm like, seriously?
Yeah,
I'm like,
well, wait till Neuralink and you think about it and it'll be in your feed. I mean, it's just, again, there's no secret to what's being done. And again, remember what I just said, data wrapped with AI and sprinkling compute. Excuse me, data wrapped in algorithms and sprinkling the compute. It's all the same thing. That's all that Facebook does. Is they take the data from your Facebook, from you on Facebook, and everywhere you go, and what you do, and they feed it through their algorithms, and they just have enough compute where it spits out the recommend engine. That's all they're doing. That's all anybody's doing. And so, how do you build Facebook? Well, you get data, you build your algorithms, and you get your compute. Who's creating the data? I mean, for Hive, most of the people on Hive are over on X all day or Discord. What the hell does that feed? Doesn't feed anything. Those who are on Hive don't do anything. No, there's no reason why anybody who has any significant amount of Leo shouldn't have at least 20 to 25 threads a day. It's not that hard. Okay, maybe you don't have 20 top line threads where you put up something that you create, but 20 threads or comments. It's not
Hmm.
that hard. Hell, I'll go through my comment feed after this call, and I'll be able to do 5. I get no problem. I'll do at least 5. That's just on my notifications. That's not even going through like the new feed and commenting on other people's stuff.
Uh-huh.
I mean, if I comment on 10 threads, good chance at least 5 of them will comment back. I mean, mostly because they probably want upvotes from me, but whatever. It doesn't matter the motivation.
Right, right.
I don't care. It's like, so there's 5 more people to respond to. And unless they're I mean, not even if they're dipshits, because a lot of times people leave stuff and you can't comment back because it's just like there's
Ooh,
nothing to really comment to.
right.
You know, unfortunately, a lot of people, that's all they put is shit that you can never comment back to. But it's this is where it's what is your focus? What is going on? What do you think's happening with Leo? Now, I don't agree with everything with Cal, but Cal has some of the things he sees and understands. You know,
Netflix is another one. I mean, we watched a couple movies on Netflix recently, and they come back with like asking our opinion about the movie, like it, love it, hate it, whatever,
yeah.
and then they recommend other movies.
Well, they're taking that data, feeding it through the algorithm, mixing it with some compute, and out comes more recommendations. It's the same fucking thing. Every digital platform is doing this. Leo needs to do this. Hive needs to do this. But you need the data. And we need to create the data. And you're not going to have it unless the data is there. And okay, in this instance, you know, there's enough stuff on Netflix because Netflix is a service. Well, how many times have I said we need a service? There's no services on Hive. What the fuck are people going to do? Oh, they'll thread. Why would they thread? There's a thread every 3 minutes. Nobody's going to do that. You're going after the small percentage of the internet that does blogging. They don't care. So, what services are you offering? What services are you offering to be able to not only get users, but get the data? And that's what's missing. So, that's some of what I've tried to do is at least start the proof of concept, at least of, hey, we have some services here. Music on Leo. There's some music here. Okay, it's a pain in the ass to find, but hopefully this recommend engine at some point will make it easier. Or maybe Leo AI, I don't know. Um, but either way, how about that? But we need to get that in. And, over the last 4 months, we've done a pretty good job of it, in my opinion. But that's at least something to use. That's more than 95% of Hive right then and there. But there should be 25 of those because it's nothing that, I mean, this is not deep stuff. In fact, it's very simplistic. I mean, this is at the moron level. I don't have to be very bright to figure this out. This is nothing but rote copy and paste for the most part.
Really, yeah, that's
It's not like I have to be a genius to do this. We're not talking about writing code. We're not talking about any types of thought process. It's like, okay, very simple. Well, there's 1,000 things this could be done for. Nobody does it. So the small handful of people are, or the small people handful benefit.
but we're the lucky ones.
Yeah, well, that'll be the thing. Yeah, That'll be the thing. I talked about. I don't know if you were able to listen to Friday's um, Lions Den, but I talked about my possibly, and he's now on the CTT guy's radar. This guy's not a developer. This guy's playing with prompts on ChatGPT. Did you hear what I said?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. It's all the whining and complaining about, oh, the whales, and how come the whales don't vote me? Well, they don't know you exist. How do I get on their radar?
Do something.
Well, ask Mike possibly. He got on. He got on one of the biggest whales on Hive's radar. I presume. I mean, he's interacting with the CTT guys. Okay, he's probably interacting with Starkers more than Dan, but he Dan probably is aware of what's taking place. So that's what you do.
Yeah, because he did that summary of the town hall, and I said, "Oh, thanks for that," because I wasn't here to listen to it. And he said, "Yeah, I'm gonna do the summary of your video tonight." I'm like, "Oh, cool, that'll be nice."
Yeah, well, he how he started it was, I mean, he started with the spaces. And then I said, well, can you do that with my videos?
Mm-hmm.
And he went in and he started it. He had no problem with the prompts. He had no feeding, but there was something that he was blocked. He couldn't get anything in the last 2 years from 3Speak. And so he knew what he needed. So he went into their Discord and said, can I get this? And he had already been doing the summary for the CTT.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, maybe when he was in there, he was talking to whoever. I don't know who that he was talking about. But
Mm-hmm.
next thing I know, he said, because him and I had talked about Leo AI, and one of the things we want to do is to feed Leo AI. If you take my 2,800 videos and you write a summary for each one and post it through Leo INLEO, that'll be a lot of stuff to feed the AI, because you're not going to feed it, to my knowledge, video. And so he agreed. And so he could only do a certain amount. But I guess in talking to him, he messaged me one day. He said, they want me, they're going to give me the key or whatever it's called to be able to do this. So maybe he's gotten it, because if he's, well, I don't know, maybe he may take this from YouTube. So
Mm-hmm.
that may be where he gets it from anyway. He might take the YouTube transcript and feed it through. But either way, um, so I know he's going through John Goes. I know he's going through Bradley Arrow's videos, and he's writing up the summaries of those. And so now they want that. The CTT guys want him to do that for the 3Speak videos, so they can, what he said, feed CTT/Hive AI. So those guys are building out some type of LLM. This is where it all feeds. And he's creating, it's not even synthetic data, because he's getting it from the human. So hopefully at some point then he can take the rest of this data and feed it through again and get more data. I mean, that's what it really comes down to.
Mm-hmm.
But again, there's a prime example of a guy who just, we just started talking and he started doing some things, and now he's involved with the CTT guys in 3Speak. And he did that in a matter of a week and a half,
Jeez.
because he had these ideas and he said, let me try this. And I mean, so, I mean, you tell me, how do you get on somebody's radar? Like you said, do something.
Show up, do something.
Yeah,
Show.
do something. Do something big. Stop pitching and moaning. I mean, do you think they call me Dan's going to remember you if you're sitting there pissing and moaning?
They don't want to remember you if you're.
You're no different than 1,000 other people we've seen. You know? So, I mean, that's what it comes down to, the consistency, going big and being everywhere. And I don't give a shit how new you are to Leo. You're not going too far on Leo without seeing me. And I make sure of that because I'm everywhere.
Yeah, you are.
Well, again, it goes back to the digital real estate. I'm everywhere because every time I'm somewhere, I'm creating a new page. That's another rental property that I just built. And it took me 7 seconds to build it. And the more I built, I don't know. Maybe a tornado will whisk the building away. I'll never make any money off it. Okay, well, I tried. But I got more properties. I got more people following me each day. I mean, I don't worry about followers. It's just because most people end up leaving anyway. So who cares? But when I go to Three Speak, I see each day I have more followers. One or two more. Whatever. Do you think that would happen if I posted once every 2 weeks? No,
Not even close.
no. So I mean, that's why Hive, Leo, these are opportunities. But opportunity, what's the old saying? The reason why most people miss opportunity is because it comes disguised as work.
Yeah.
That's what it is. It takes time, it takes effort, it takes dedication, it takes commitment, it takes responsibility.
And discipline.
Yeah. I mean, it's. I see these people write and say, well, I haven't written a post in like 4 days, or I finally wrote a post first time in 2 weeks. I'm like, how the fuck do you do that? How do you do that and consider yourself to be a content creator? How do you do that and actually want anybody to take you seriously in any of this? I don't take you seriously. And I'm not saying that everybody's content creator, not everybody's writing long form posts. Fine. Okay, whatever. Not everybody is that's their cup of tea. I understand that. But I don't think about this stuff. I get up in the morning, I write a damn post. It's like Melbourne West. You see his body? I guarantee you he doesn't think about going to the gym. He doesn't ponder it. He just does it. Because you don't look like he does by debating whether you're going to the gym or not. Because there's a lot of days he doesn't want to go to the gym. I guarantee you that. But he goes. Because you don't get a body like that without being in the gym.
Right.
And it's evident he does it. And if you talk to the guy, if you follow the guy around, if you got in the guy's head, guarantee he doesn't think about going to the gym. Whatever his time is, if he goes to the gym first thing in the morning or late at night or whatever his routine is, if he's get up, brush his teeth, take a leak, get in the car, go to the gym, that's what he does. That's what he'll be doing tomorrow morning, and he won't even think about it. Because that's what he does. I get up, I write a post. Done. I mean, it's no thought, no contemplation. I mean, so this is where it's like, what are people doing? I just don't get it. It's like, do you think not Elon Musk, do you think Tiger Woods, all those decades that he was the top player in the world, do you think he debated going out and hitting balls? Do you think he debated with himself whether to go practice his chipping or his putting or whatever he had to work on? No. I can guarantee you he does. Because when you're at that level, you put in the work. You know, even though he's extremely talented, you still have to put in the work.
Right.
So that's the consistency, that's the discipline. And, for me, it all comes back to under my account, under LEOGlossary account, doesn't matter what account, getting as much stuff on the blockchain as I can each and every day. Why? Because it's real estate. I want as many pages as I can, and I want as many pages linked to as many other pages as I can get. And I want as many pages linked into my pages as I can get. And that's the formula that I operate by, good, bad, or otherwise. I don't know if it's working. We don't have the monetization systems really in place, but the ones that are, I'm doing pretty good with.
Well, that's good to know.
Well, again, I make myself known. And I don't make myself known with any dazzling coding, or my videos are as basic as they come. I hit play on the damn uh, webcam on the camera, and I hit stop and I upload it. I don't edit it. I don't put jingles on it. I don't do any of that stuff. It's as basic as you come. But I produce a ton of it, and you can't go very far without seeing me. You go on the 3Speak, I'm there.
Yeah.
Why? Because 2 videos a day are going to 3Speak. For 2 years, every week, twice a week, I showed up with Django. I mean, that's what it is. So that kind of got off LEOGlossary, but it kind of also sums up what LEOGlossary is.
Right. It's a big database. It's content.
Yeah. It's content that can be repurposed, can be reused, can be filtering out, and it's going to feed Leo AI. I mean, I guarantee you, if long form posts go into Leo AI, which I think they are, you'll ask for shit. There will be certain things that people will ask for. It'll come right from a LEOGlossary page, because there's some stuff that really only are LEOGlossary pages. I mean, nobody's going to write an article about MVAS, but there's a LEOGlossary page about MVAS. So,
Well, thank you again. Another good talk.
okay.
We've passed the 1 hour mark.
That is good. We got to keep it to an hour.
So thank you everybody who showed up, and we will see you again next week. Have a good evening, and bye-bye for now.
Ciao.